Welcome back to Damesandtea with Jernika, part 2 of parenting then and parenting now. Let's get it.
Answer that question. How do you feel like you were nurturing?
The I love yous, the hugs.
Yeah, definitely. You know,
I wasn't as nurturing for your feelings because your feelings, unfortunately, it mattered, but it didn't matter, if that kind of makes sense. Meaning, like, I don't have time to deal with you and what you're going, your emotions. Is this, you did this, and this is the consequences to this. So, in what way I wasn't nurturing? What do, it maybe goes to, what do you consider nurturing? Maybe that's the bigger question.
Well, the answer that you just decided against, right? In regards to focusing on that person's feelings or that person's emotions. You know what I'm saying? Focusing on how that person is feeling. And understanding that it's not always the surface of the problem. A lot of times we will be consequented on the surface of the situation versus finding out what's under the water, right? What is the reason that you continue to act up? Me, I was probably punished like 60% to 70% of my childhood. And I got to like my butt whooped maybe like 65 to 75 85% of my childhood, you know what I'm saying? But it was all, I turned out fine, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, so you're saying that, but it was for a reason. Let's get to it.
Exactly.
It wasn't a hobby of mine to punish you.
You're definitely right, but that's the point that I'm getting at, right? It was for the reason, and the reason was only what you seen on the surface instead of looking at the undermining
what could be going on.
What could be going on that could kind of that was not making me, that would influence those negative behaviors. You know what I'm saying?
But I'm gonna pause on that and I'm gonna pat myself on the back because I do it with my grandson. Okay.
Yeah, definitely, and that's what they do, right? So parenting, the difference between parenting then and parenting now is the gentle parenting. It's what grandparents do to their grandchildren. All that now they don't do it to their kids.
I learned raising adult kids that I can do something different with my grandson. I don't have him 24 hours a day, so the times that I do have with him is going to be more nurturing. Okay, let's skip to discipline.
Okay.
Then and now. Okay, my disciplinary aspects was you cut up. I might don't whip. I'm gonna say whip, not beat. I might don't whip you the first time. Sometimes I threaten, and then they do something else that was so minute, and I just go postal and just beat them or whip. Let me be clear, whip them with the belt, and then also punish them on top of the whipping because it was a build-up. I keep telling you to stop doing something. So it wasn't that time that you walked. It wasn't the part that you walked over that piece of paper this time and didn't pick it up. It was from all the other things that you did that I warned you about. And today was the day that all hell broke loose, if that makes sense. So my disciplinary was more of whipping and then punishing at the same time. It was very rare that I whip and it's over. Majority of the time, it was whip, punish, and you punish for a while, and then it's over. And there was also times I did not whip, and I just punished and took everything. And then as I felt like they adjusted to not having it, I gotta give it back because I know for a fact this one was going to mess up again, so I can take it back. So my disciplinary thing was to be physical and not like talk about stuff. Maybe once or twice in your life you might say I really talked about something to see what was the problem, but for more or less it was me sparing the ride, sparing the child, sparing the ride. So that was then, and that happened to me as well. I got whooped as well, and I didn't find nothing wrong. When I was young, I did say I'll never whip my child, but I realized that they need whippings for things. So that was then. So now, how is the disciplinary aspect of it?
Now is more so, again, I'm gonna keep using the analogy of the whole surface and the underlying issue, right? If my son, he's about to be in kindergarten this year, so I haven't really dealt with a grade school child yet, so other than the kids that I work with, and it's a difference, and I'm realizing that now, like the part that she said earlier, was the difference between raising me and being with her grandson is the fact that she's only seen him so often, right? But when you are constantly dealing with the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, 24/7 around the clock, of course it'll build some type of frustration, and it gets to a point of like, you really playing with me, like you really testing me, you really not listening to what I'm telling you to do, versus if she's seeing me once a week or every so often. You know what I'm saying? You would have a break from that person. You have an opportunity to kind of settle yourself down, and the frustration isn't as built. You know what I'm saying? So if she's seeing me once a week and I frustrated her on Monday, by next Monday she'll be calm by then. You know what I'm saying? Granted, if she's seeing me more time that whole week and I frustrated her on Monday, frustrated her on Tuesday, if I keep frustrating her, by the time Wednesday come, it's like, all right, I can probably brush up against the person. Not saying this is exactly what happened, but you could possibly brush up against that person. That could be that last drop that could make that cup flow over. And that cup flowing over was like that. That's when the whippers were coming in. You know what I'm saying? And so I guess the difference now is more so focusing on, okay, why are you getting in trouble Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it that you have going on? Because I whipped you already. I keep whipping you, and every time I whip you, you go back to doing the same thing. So what is it that you're not getting? You know what I'm saying? Because the whippings made me behave around you. You know what I'm saying? I knew not to play with you. You know what I'm saying? But I'll go back to the school doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Because I know for a fact them teachers can't put their hands on me. You know what I'm saying? But even with the back thought in my mind that, okay, if I know if I cut up, I'm going to get this whipping at home. You know what I'm saying? But I can honestly say it was possibly maybe the people that I was around. I didn't start to really behave more, and I'm getting off topic, but I didn't start to really recollect the lessons that she was trying to instill in me until I started to realize the actual consequences that came in the real world, and not just the consequences that was coming from her, right? And so when I started to realize, like, yo, if I make this mistake in school, I'm not only going to get a whooping at home, but this school could possibly send me to an alternative school that I did not want to go to. I could possibly be going to in-school suspension that I did not like, or any other consequence that this school would give me. So it's like, until I really started to fear the consequence, my actions started to get a whole lot better. You know,
and I don't think, not to cut you off, but I don't think it was the fear of the consequences with me, because you continuously did the things. I think, in my opinion, and just looking back, it was the consequences of what could happen at school. Because if you feared the consequences with me, you would have been stopped from first grade.
And that's very much true. But what was in the back of my, because I don't. When you at school, I don't think about you, right? As soon as you go through them doors, it's like whatever in my face is what I'm dealing with, because it's like two different lives. You live a life at home and you have a life at school, right? You have a life around your peers and around these, I don't want to say strangers, but these are other authority figures. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, when you get through those doors, it's like, that's the only thing in my mind until I do get in trouble. Until the teacher probably say, hey, you want me to call my mom? Want me to call your mom? That's when it's in my head, like, oh, it's not that I don't want you to call my mom. I don't want to get this whooping that's going to happen if you do call my mama. You know what I'm saying? And so that'll kind of be a way to kind of keep me in check. And so to answer the question of the disciplinary actions now, what I do now, I don't have a grade school child, so I'm not able to really full out answer that specific question. But the counsel I get to my son now is more so like making a wall sit. I made my son wall sit like a mud. Like, if he's not doing something that I know for a fact he knows better at, or if he's intentionally not following the instruction, I'll wall sit. He'll tell me, hey, that made my legs hurt. I know it's not supposed to feel good. You know what I'm saying? I need you to think about these type of I need you to think that my actions, my consequences, what you do, everything that you do has a consequence that follows, whether it's a good consequence or whether it's a bad consequence. You know what I'm saying? I probably put my hands on my child maybe once or twice. You know what I'm saying? He's 5 years old, right? And I shouldn't even I don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because the male in me, I'm able to, the assertiveness in me, I'm able to deepen my voice and get a little louder. He'll get himself together. And so the times that I did put my hands on him, it was a reaction of a push, like, hey, boy, stop playing with me, watch your mouth. You know what I'm saying? Type thing. So it's like, I realized in myself that came from my poor impulse control. Not saying that you have poor impulse control, but it definitely came from my poor impulse control. You know what I'm saying? And so when I actually had the time to really to really sit down and pay attention to who he was, that helped a lot with my disciplinary action. You know what I'm saying? Because knowing who he was and knowing how to communicate with him and knowing how to really get to him so that he can understand, it helped a lot. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And I would just say, let me be clear, I wasn't disciplining just by whipping, because there's other tactics that I've taken before, which was, do you recall?
I used to be on the knees. We used to get on our knees. What? I used to be sitting up with our arms up. You know what I'm saying? We would have like additional additional chores and stuff like that. So she definitely had a lot of good tactics in place. You know what I'm saying?
I recall cayenne pepper first.
Well, we used to lie. We used to lie. She used to suck her finger and put it in a jar of cayenne pepper. And I didn't think she didn't use that. It didn't seem like she used that jar for anything else other than us lying. I don't think she used it for cooking because the jar was full. The jar was never less than half. We had the jar for maybe about 5 years, and I don't think it ever got used. But for us, so every time we lied, she would grab the cayenne, she'll suck her finger, put it in the cayenne pepper, and roll it in our mouths and make us sit there and say, "Man, you ain't drinking no water." You know what I'm saying? I think I had a pillow. that got a cayenne pepper stain on it because I got to remember I spit it out. And she'll say, "Don't go to the bathroom. Don't wash your hands," because you know for a fact you try to wash your hands, you try to get that, and it only makes it worse. The only thing that cures spice is what milk. I heard now, but yeah, there was definitely a lot of methods in place. She was definitely experimenting on.
I really tried to do different techniques. Did I do rice before or books?
I think it was books. Oh, I don't think you did rice. I can't, not that I remember. But what I did remember was the whooping. What I remember was
and even though he remembered the whipping, that didn't stop because not wall stands, but holding your arms up on your knees like this, that didn't help. You know what I'm saying? So I did try different tactics. And would I change it? That was my parenting style. And you know, as time progressed, things evolved. And I'm saying, like, I got whooped. Like, I had to literally go get the switch off the tree to get whooped so I could get whooped for my grandmother, you know? So, again, when I say, when I have children, I'm not going to whoop my kids. But in terms, it happens.
I feel like it's still the communication aspect of it, right? I mean, even when I do consequence my son, right after that consequence, I talk to him about like, yo, and I actually picked this up from my job. Right, when I'm at the job, when I'm working with kids, I first started working at a residential treatment center, and this is a building. It's a home for like kids who have trouble managing their emotions, trouble managing their anger. Right, so you get kids cursing at you, spitting at you. That's not how I was raised. You use the wrong tone. You getting consequented. You know, like physically consequented. You know what I'm saying? And so to be around an environment where kids are overstepping these boundaries that I've never even dreamed of overstepping, you know what I'm saying, and trying to get through to these kids. It's like you will consequence these kids by taking away something else. But I've realized the best way to reach them was not only building that relationship, but explaining to them like, yo, you're the reason this is happening right now. You know what I'm saying? So after each consequence I give my son, I talk to him about, yo, this is why, and I keep reiterating, this is why this is going on, so that he's not focusing on me consequenting him. He's focusing on, okay, I did this that caused this to happen. And so that's what I'm trying to kind of instill in his head, that no matter what I do, there's a consequence that follows, right? I don't think I've ever told anybody this, but every consequence I give my son, I double it for myself. And so when I make my son wall sit, if I make him wall sit for 30 seconds, later that night, I'll wall sit for a minute. Right? I do that for myself to kind of help me out with learning how to reach him more. I blame it on myself whenever he's misbehaving. I blame it on myself whenever he's not following instructions. Because to me, it's like, okay, well, it's my job to help you learn these better routes, right? Learn these better options to not go down this wrong path. So if you're not listening, maybe it's something that I'm doing that's not getting you to listen. And so me also consequenting myself when he do wrong helps me be more not assertive, but helps me be more, it encourages me to kind of find a solution, because you think I want to wall sit, not for a fact. And so when I give myself that consequence, that makes me be a little bit more aggressive with trying to find a solution to kind of reach him. And so that next day I would just kind of, and I try to be a little subtle with it, not too much, because again, he's 5 years old, you know, he probably don't even remember what he did the next day, but I'm lying, because he remember.
He definitely does.
He got some good memory, you know, that remember when you did this, especially when it's something that's different. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I find my best way of reaching him is just by communicating with him constantly, always talking in reiteration. I've learned that because it's also the field that I'm in, learning how to reach a person's mind. You know what I'm saying? The minds are still developing. You know, he don't know.
They're like sponges.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So they soak in whatever they see. And so I had to correct him and correct myself about how he played the game sometimes. You know what I'm saying? He be on the game and he get mad, be like, oh man. Or he yell out like real loud and out of frustration. I'm like, hey, if you can't get yourself together, you won't play that game. But 5 minutes later, I lose in the game, and I'm, man, what's going on? And I'm going off. He's only doing what he's seeing. You know what I'm saying? So in order for me
and let's pause right there, because you say games. That's another thing. Parenting then and parenting now. Like, I let y'all go outside. It's not that y'all didn't have games, because y'all had PlayStations, y'all had Nintendo 64s. You've had all play game. What is them handheld games and all that? Game Boys, PS, whatever the hand. You had all those things, but you also had the opportunity to go outside and play, be a kid and play. And I don't want to say I set time limits, but it kind of was a time limit. I'm saying y'all could go outside and play or whatever the case may be. I find that parenting now more or less is you letting your kid sit in front of TV or have an iPad and watch Netflix or whatever all day long, or playing a game. Mm-hmm. Why is that so prevalent now for that to happen? I feel like it's more laziness, and that's just my own opinion about it. I feel like it's laziness because you don't, not you in general, I'm just saying in general, people don't monitor what their kids are watching or even the violent games that they're playing.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it's a lot of factors that go into that, right? From where you stay at, right? You won't see a lot of kids outside in a house neighborhood versus an apartment neighborhood, right? Because when you're in an apartment, you have like a common area to kind of meet up, right? Because you got these apartments, if it is a playground, everybody knows, okay, this is where we're going to meet up. We used to meet up on a generator behind the house, right? The green generator. I'm pretty sure a lot of apartments had that meetup spot, right? But versus a
AC
house.
unit.
Yeah, the AC unit. Yeah, but in regards to like the individual houses, it's like everybody has their own front yard or backyard. You know what I'm saying? And so in order to really connect with the other kids, if you haven't met them at school to kind of connect with them, like, hey, yo, come outside, it becomes a whole lot more easier. Also with technology advancing now, it seems to be a little bit way more fun to play the game than it is to actually play outside with the kids, right? Especially with the heat and with the way the weather is and stuff like that. Not only that, but parents, right? A lot of parents may not know it, but sometimes they prefer for their kid to be inside because they're closer to them. You don't have to worry about your child getting into nothing else. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about like anywhere outside. Hence, Jarrell, right? You remember how you said that Jarrell was clean to you. You know, you felt like he was more safer at home than he would be outside. You know, I feel like a lot of parents maybe have that unconsciously in their mind. Like, yo, even though I don't like the fact that you gaming all the time, at least I know where you at, right? At least I know you in that room. You know what I'm saying? And the only part I got to deal with is making sure that you're not searching up the wrong thing, or you're not getting yourself into anything bad on the internet or anything like that.
It's different than when y'all was coming up, because the internet was not like it is now.
You
know, it has advanced.
Right.
So that goes back into parenting. Now parents have to parent their kids, meaning know what they're doing, restrict internet. They have ways that you can restrict internet searches and all that, turning the internet off. They have ways that you can do that. I don't find that parents do that. They let those things babysit their kids.
But even that's only...
And are you saying that as an excuse that kids can't connect because that's where parents come to play? I'm not going to say I never got out there and got on my knees and shot marbles with y'all, but I would go outside, or y'all had outlets, meaning y'all had other kids to, be around. Mm-hmm. But even if you're having kids, you have to know in the era we in, you have to take them away from those things sometimes. And maybe you have to go outside and ride a bike with them, or shoot marbles with them. And even with the educational things, even with the gaming, or set them up on a table so they could be learning, opposed to letting the computer or iPad or something teach them. So there's ways that you still can take them from watching movies or watching or playing a game, and
make it fun. Yeah, right. Kids don't like to do nothing that seems boring. I don't like the kids don't like to do nothing that's boring or just makes them feel like they don't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? I don't like the consequence of my son with making them like, oh, you're in trouble, go read a book. Oh, you're in trouble, go write this. And the reason I don't do that is because it may make him shy away from doing these actual things while he's in school. I don't want him to
feel like it's a punishment.
To feel like it's a punishment. You know what I'm saying? When you incorporate that as a punishment, it's like, okay, well, now I don't want to do it.
And learning should be fun.
Learning should be fun. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's the easiest way to reach a kid. Hence the alphabet, right? We know the ABC song, right? It'll be it's easier for us to know our ABCs in a rhythm format, in a song format, so that we can enjoy it, and it'd be easier for us to remember it. You know what I'm saying? Hence a lot of YouTube videos are now YouTubers are now coming out with a lot of educational songs to kind of be more catchy, but so that you can listen to it, you can jam to it, but you can also learn along the way. You know what I'm saying? Going outside also deals with the parents too. I make it fun, right? I mean, I love being outside. So if I love being outside and I got a son, of course he's gonna love being outside too because he's coming outside when I go outside. And when he sees that I'm having fun out here, and then I find activities that he can have fun with too, by all means, yeah, he gonna enjoy it too. Granted, they do know their limitations as well. I mean, I just got done riding a bike with my son. He said, I'm ready to go inside because it was hot. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean that he doesn't like to be outside. I guarantee if he hear a couple kids out there, he gonna want to go outside because to be around those kids, you know what I'm saying? I feel like it just starts at a young age, and also who you're around. Keep your kids hanging around kids that actually love to go outside and do things. You know what I'm saying? But it's hard to kind of.
But they have board games. They have other things that you actually can do because we played a lot of board games inside. We didn't have game nights. It's things that I actually got.
But these kids are trying to play no board games.
But that's the problem.
I mean, they do play board games on the video games.
No, but you have to have. We did have family time, even though I was aggressive or whatever. We have karaoke. We didn't video.
We sure did.
I had
with just us.
Yes.
We didn't have to invite nobody else.
Yes, it was mainly with just us. I have an inspired rapper.
I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? Retired.
But yeah, even board game. We did family stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's other ways to make kids entertained by doing stuff just with the family. You know what I'm saying? Us three. You know, we had I believe I could pull up videos from we had fun. You know what I'm saying? So you have to find ways to get your kids off the TV. And not only that, not just to say to get them off the TV, it affects their vision. I work at a computer every day, all day at work. And I'm to the point to where I wear glasses. They can say over 40 if they want to, but no, it's because I've been looking at a computer screen for my whole career. So you have to realize that affects those kids' eyes in the long run. You know, so you have to be very careful with that as well.
It's me. Now I gotta wear glasses. Right.
But I took y'all away from that. You know what I'm saying? I used to like take a break. Even if you was punished, you didn't have it, and you had to find other things to do. So you also have to take accountability for your own parenting as well as I had to take some accountability, even though I was a perfect parent.
Good word. That's a good word. So even in regards to the discipline, what makes discipline work is to mold, I guess, our kids to kind of take accountability for their own actions, right? And not necessarily, I'm not going to do this because I don't want to get in trouble with my mama. No, I'm not going to do this because I know it's the wrong thing to do, right? And there's more consequences that can come versus me just consequenting them. And also understanding that it's bigger than just me consequenting. And the reason I'm consequenting you, not because I'm frustrated, but because I need you to understand that if you keep doing this is what can happen, right? If you keep cutting up in school, these teachers not going to want to listen to you. They're going to give you a hard time, and you're going to make your school life a way more harder.
And let me stop you right there. You saying school life, it does, because you become a marked kid. You can testify that in class, once the teachers talk just like everybody else. So even if this child is not messing up immediately because he's marked as the problem child, they're going to automatically feel like it's him, and it don't necessarily have to be him. And as a parent, when you know your child always act up and then they come with this long side, it wasn't you this time, but what about all the other times? So it's more or less like, why would I believe it's not you this time, and that's your story all the time? So that's going with taking our accountability and bringing your kids up from small. And it's hard to say that they're not going to lie, or you can have that discernment when they're lying, because I had a discernment when they lied for a very long time. It went away because they started able to mask it and I couldn't tell, but for a long time I knew when they were lying. And even with my grandson, he gets into it too. So it's a time now to stop them. It's not a good thing to tell a lie, because when you are actually telling the truth, they might not believe you. So you have to have that. With that being said, now you have to mold the kids trying to coming up when they're young, and you do have to give them consequences for their action, because that's why a lot of children are out of control right now, because parents want to be, my opinion, want to be more of a friend to their children. I never was my children's friend. I'm sorry. As they got older and become adults, I want to be that person for them to be able to come talk to.
And not only that, I mean to cut you off. Not only that, y'all, it's a whole lot more challenging things to parenting. The challenges doesn't stop at just diapers and bottles and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? As your child get older, the problems don't go away. They just evolve. You know what I'm saying? Because now you're trying to mold a new person to adjust to a world that we're still trying to get used to. Right? Absolutely. And it can be a frustrating thing. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with a child.
Ends. The child being frustrated.
Right. And you being frustrated. So the child don't understand that's not supposed to understand. We're still trying to understand what we have going on. You know what I'm saying? And it's a communication thing too.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? And even when they can't use their words, right? If she was a baby, right, and she wanted this card, and I took this away from her, and she cried, and I got tired of hearing her crying, I said, here, stop crying. And I give that to her, I just communicated with her that, all I gotta do is cry or throw a tantrum to get this card, right?
And that's what I'm gonna continue to do.
And she's gonna continue to do it. So next time I take this card and she throw a tantrum, she start throwing a tantrum, and I go, yo, you gotta stop doing that.
And
She's gonna throw a bigger tantrum. You know what I'm saying? So now it's up to me to deal with that. I don't wanna whoop, because if I whoop her, she might still throw this tantrum. She gonna think that I'm crying. No, you understand that if you throw this tantrum, you will not get this card back. And it starts
to start in the beginning.
You gotta start in the beginning, and it's not too late. You know what I'm saying? All I can say is the later that you wait, the more challenging it is to kind of reset their mindset. Exactly. So if you're dealing with a child that constantly throwing the tantrums, you have to be able to manage your mental health, manage your emotions as well, because we're still human. We still get frustrated and we still get upset, especially when it's your offspring, especially when it's somebody that you created and you raised. Like, no,
he's not to cut you off, but he talked about mental health. That goes back to episode 1. Like I said, all these episodes gonna really domino into another. Is if you start them off as a child, listening to them, seeing what's going on with them, that can help them when they get older, because the mental issues that they deal with when they was younger and it wasn't addressed, that's how it turned into adult issues. If you're able to deal with the mental issues or the things that they're going through when they're younger, maybe it can help that at that point, so they cannot or will not have them same thoughts or same mental mentality. So we have to think about it from that aspect too. And I want to go back to you saying reset. Co-parenting. Co-parenting is a thing that we going to talk about on the next episode about resetting, because co-parenting, you have to literally reset your child every time you get your child. I never had to co-parent, but I watched my son co-parent. So you have to reset that child, because the child is in one household can do one thing, and then when he comes to the next household, you just have to reset. So stay tuned.
Because everybody thinks that once you have a good co-parenting relationship with that other person, that it's all good. It's not. I have a great co-parenting relationship with his mom.
Let's stop. That's all next episode. I'm gonna have Robert back co-hosting with me for co-parenting. So on a positive note, what you would like to say?
Positive note, man. Hey, I am so proud of this. These newer generations, right? We have an increased amount of dads stepping up, right, compared to how it was way back then. Now I'm seeing a lot of dads being active, right? A lot of two-parent households coming into place. And so I just continue to encourage y'all to continue to build, not just for yourself, but for your child, your offsprings as well, because just like we're trying to understand the world, they're trying to do the same thing. And so if we don't want nobody fussing at us or going off with us because we're making a mistake, I would hope that you guys lead by example. I love the fact that I'm a dad, and I love the fact that I had an amazing mom to kind of mold me into the man that I am today. And all we can do is be great from here.
And on my positive note, I would like to say there's no right or wrong way to be a parent. We all learning. At the age I am, I'm still learning, but I'm glad and blessed to have a great relationship with my kids where they can come talk to me about anything. Just keep the communication open with your kids and be that person that they can come talk to, and everything gonna be all right. Thank you for joining Damesandtea. I'm out of here.